everyone to the Making the Shift webinar. It's a real pleasure to be with all of you today. And for those women who are listening to the recording after the fact, I'm going to energetically welcome you into the circle with us today at this time also. Let's begin by collectively taking 3 nice deep breaths, coming into this moment, allowing thoughts of the past or things to do to just dissolve and really gift yourself this hour. And I feel a gift to me to be in circle with you here today. So taking a nice deep breath in. If there's any sound that accompanies the exhale, let it out. One more nice deep breath. Send it into your pelvic bowl, that far down into the body. And if you do have water, I'll invite you during the webinar to drink water because I like to drink a lot of water and I get thirsty, so you'll probably hear a little gulping during the recording. Okay. I'd love to share with you what made me want to create this webinar. At the beginning of this year in January, I noticed that some of my routines started to feel stagnant. I have a morning ritual that I've been doing consistently. Well, I've had morning rituals for years and years and years, but the particular one that I had been doing for a year. And I noticed it began to feel like a routine, and it didn't have the magic or that element of really sacred energy that my morning routine is supposed to give me, the little meditation and the movement and the welcoming of my guides and my helpers. I had a specific way that I was doing it with drumming, and it was wonderful, but it started to feel stagnant. And I noticed that other routines and habits that I had that were nourishing, they were, great things, making my morning smoothie and going for my daily walk, they started to lose the magic, and it became kind of mundane, and it just became routine, and I started to lose that really magical sense of life. So I thought to myself, okay, I gotta switch this up, and I need to make a shift. I could feel that I had been at a plateau for a while. I've made a lot of shifts in my lifetime, just like all of you have. I know all of you have made shifts, whether you're shifting into a process of healing, shifting out of a process of healing, shifting into a new career, shifting into a new way of thinking or being. I know that many of you have spent a lot of time consciously working with this process of self-evolution. And so this is nothing new to you. And so I noticed, you know what, it's time for a shift. I'm at a plateau. I'm starting to feel my routines are losing their magic, and it is time for me to take another step into the direction of my big dreams. What are my big dreams now? The last time I checked, my big dream that was on the horizon was to lead international retreats. And so I had Costa Rica last year and just got back from the Bali retreat this year. And so great, I accomplished that. It was a few years in the making to manifest it and to have it happen and unfold. And I have other things that I want to do with myself and my business and also in my personal life. So I realized, okay, I'm noticing it's time to take another step forward into those things that are calling. So I started to feel the call. And I'm not sure about how you've experienced 2016, but I've really personally experienced for myself and also with the women who I work with in my private coaching practice, I've noticed that it's asking a lot of us this year. Some elements of this year have been completely, off the charts, magical with synchronicity and opportunities. And then there's been other times that are so challenging and really have forced myself and others to go deep inside and do the inner work and my sense of what we're being called forward into is more of our unique essence, shining more of our light, accepting and embracing more of our unique gifts and skills, and really offering ourselves in service to the planet, to humanity at this time through honoring our gifts and our skills and those unique abilities that we have, and just the things that make us happy. Those things that you love, to do or to experience are often, if it's nourishing. I know there's habits that we love that actually harm us, but those habits and experiences and things we love to do that feel nourishing and that make us feel good are, I feel, aligned with the good of the whole of the planet and beyond. So that's kind of the invitation that I felt 2016 has had for us. And so I started to consciously shift at the beginning of this year. I did things like ask myself, okay, at the beginning of the day, what would I not usually do in the morning? Well, I usually wouldn't just wake up and have a bath. I would usually do my ritual and get some food into me and get to work. So that's something that I'd like to put out there for you also, is as you're feeling called to shift and make shifts, just questioning yourself, what are the things that I would normally not do that might be interesting or exciting or nourishing to do today? So I started randomly taking baths first thing in the morning. I started getting up at 4 in the morning with my partner, John. He gets up at that time for work. And I love to be up in those dark, quiet hours. I find it very hard to get up that early, but I love it. And so I started to do that. I've also noticed I had a lot of anger coming up this year. And that's an emotion, sadness, feeling low or down and out, anxious. Those are feelings I'm more familiar with working with and experiencing and moving with. But anger is not one that I experience very often. So I had anger coming up, and I was really, that anger was about boundaries, creating boundaries for me in family and business, in all areas of my life. Boundaries was coming up, and that trigger of anger was teaching me about boundaries. And so I created this, I evolved my relationship with anger, and I really got to know that energy and worked with it. And I also noticed that sometimes I would get stuck in it, and it would kind of, there's one thing to have that energy of anger that's kind of like a volcanic eruption, and you harness that energy and you use it, and it helps you to create or to make boundaries or to, just that have determination and perseverance. But then there's other times where it's lingering around and it's kind of overstayed its welcome. It's not helping you anymore. It's actually keeping you stuck. And I found myself in that situation a couple times, and I came up with this idea to, when I felt stuck in the anger, I would dress up like it was Halloween. So I did that a couple times. I would, go put on a tutu and like a bunch of necklaces and some crazy top. And it totally shifted the energy, because I just found myself hilarious. I'd look in the mirror and think, oh my goodness, I'm so funny. I look funny and I feel funny for doing this, but I also, that energy couldn't hang on any longer. So sometimes the shift is greeting an energy that's no longer serving us. It's just become stagnant and it's holding frozen or just numb in your body, and greeting it with a totally different energy that it's not expecting. So we have all of these aspects of ourselves. We have ego, and we have, pain or trauma or grief, old energies that are still in our body if we haven't moved through them and worked them. Often they have many layers. So you think you've done the work, and then you go, that fear came back again. I can't believe that I've been working with that for 10 years. It's not gone yet. And so it takes another different approach. Einstein said we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. And I love that quote so much. It really causes me to think and to understand, yeah, if I want to take the next step in the direction of these big dreams, I need to try something new. So thank you, everyone, for being on this call and perhaps taking that step in your own life in some way. And if there's anything that I say during this hour that doesn't resonate with you, or if it doesn't feel right, just full permission to let it go. It's not yours to carry. Don't hold on to it as a burden. If you get, one or two things from this call that will serve you moving forward, I am thrilled about that. So during this webinar today, we're going to talk about how your body responses can guide you in actualizing your dreams. So as most of you know, my work is really about coming into the body and working with the wisdom of the body and also what's held in the body that's holding us back. So we're going to talk about how we can tune into that wisdom through the body responses in guiding us. We'll also learn 4 tools that will support you in creating lasting changes, is my hope, that align with your soul purpose. And I'm actively practicing these things and have been for this year and have had big, big changes in my life. We're also going to experience a guided visualization that will help you get clear on what you're shifting into. So it could be, you could have a goal. For example, for me, I want to be speaking on stage, so more public speaking. You might want to, I also have a goal of just experiencing more peace and ease during my day. So it could be a tangible goal that you're working towards, or it could be a tangible goal that's a way of feeling, how you want to feel. Maybe you want to feel the enchantment, the beauty of life on a daily basis. Maybe you want to experience deep gratitude or wonder, as a regular experience in your life. So there's a lot of different things that we can shift into, ways of being, ways of feeling, and then also things that are goals that are either projects or career related. So it's up to you to listen to that, and I'm hoping that this guided visualization will also help you to hear maybe there's some shifts that your soul wants you to make, that you're longing to make, and you might not have even heard what that is yet. So we're going to complete our call with that. So let's begin with talking about how our body responses can guide us in actualizing our dreams. Well, the first thing that I'll share is attraction. Attraction is something that I've used in my life. I don't know if I've just, in the tarot deck, the 0 card is unless I'm getting that wrong, but anyway, okay, I'm not going to say it because I'm not sure. I'm doubting myself right now. But there's a card that is the Fool, and it's also called the Seed or the Fool, and it's almost like your innocence in following that attraction can also lead you into harsh lessons that you need to learn. So I've listened to my body from the time I was a teenager, and it has led me into some very harsh lessons. But listening and just being aware of what you're attracted to is a really powerful practice. And it's, when I say attraction, it's not, necessarily people or a sensual attraction, although it can be. But I'm talking about, let's say you go into your garden or into the forest. What trees or plants are you attracted to? What are you most drawn to spend time with? If you're in a party, in a room full of people, who are you most attracted to talk to? Maybe you're most attracted to go to another room and sit by yourself. So beginning to listen to those attractions. I know when I started leading international retreats, I had a few places that I was just naturally attracted to. Costa Rica was one of them, and I had 3 others. Bali was one of them. So I don't know why. And the thing about that natural attraction is you don't necessarily know why, and you don't need to know why. Now, there's a difference between, so attraction is something that usually comes right away. I know that some of us have a tendency to overthink things, so we draw that feeling up into the mind and we analyze it. And, I'll say, oh, okay, I want to do a retreat in Bali. Well, how much is it going to cost for people to fly there? And, oh, the US dollar is down right now. And we can talk ourselves out of those attractions. So usually an attraction is something that's quite immediate. You feel it in your body. It's like an intuitive hit where it drops into your mind, or you feel it in your body, or you just have the sense of it. And before you've overthought it, or before you've brought it up into the mind in the thinking process. So that's one way to listen to your body responses, is just through noticing what you're attracted to. Another way is to listen for what feels nourishing. I mentioned in a newsletter that I recently sent out that I also noticed that I was feeling overworked. By the beginning of this year, I only just acknowledged to myself, not that long ago, that I truly, truly work my ass off. To be blunt about it, I have worked so hard for so long, and that's why I'm so focused on the little self-care activities and breaking up my day with dance and movement, because I'm on the computer all day and I'm working my buns off to get my business to where I want it to be, and to do the inner work to get myself to where I need to be, and to continue that process has been a lot of work, and most of it's really fun, but it hasn't given me that much downtime to just be. Even when we're doing that inner work, maybe we're pulling goddess cards, or maybe we're meditating, or maybe we're, visioning or creating a dream board. That's great, but what about the time to just be? That unstructured, unscheduled time where you can do whatever the heck you want. You don't have to get it done if you start something. It's really, really important. It's so nourishing. I've probably talked about it before in other webinars, and I've tried to incorporate as much of that unstructured free time as I could in my life. But I've found that I've had to literally go away and go on vacations a few times a year for a couple of weeks to get that be time. And so that was kind of a really long tangent. But that's what feels nourishing for me right now, is to just be. Now, some of you may have a ton of time to just be, and you might be feeling, I need to get in action. I want to, start structuring my days, or I want to start working 4 hours a day on this dream and implementing that. What feels nourishing could be moving and stretching and dancing. What feels nourishing could be doing a juice cleanse, or just incorporating green juice or anything into your diet. So there's different levels of nourishment. There's what feels physically nourishing for my body, what feels nourishing for my emotions, for my emotional body, my mental body, and then what feels nourishing for my spiritual body. And so your body responds to what feels nourishing in a variety of ways. For me personally, when I think of something that feels nourishing, I get an openness in my body, a sense of openness. I feel a little bit of expansion. I feel some relaxation, like my shoulders almost settle down a little bit. So why not right now, let's take a moment to just close our eyes, or bring your gaze down to the floor, and just listen for your body to bring an image or an idea forward to you of what would feel nourishing for you today or this weekend. What's something that would feel nourishing? And I'll just be silent for about a minute here so you can really listen for that. And if it doesn't come, don't force it. Just invite that put out the question, what would feel nourishing for me this weekend? And just notice what arises. Just give you a few more moments here, and it could come in the form of an image or a color, so it might not be totally clear. But if you did get something that's clear, I welcome you to type in the chat box if you want to share. What is that thing that would be nourishing? So taking a nice deep breath, just connecting with how that will feel when you do that thing. Noticing how your body responds to the thought of that action or experience. It could be a way of being. And so that's a clue for you. You can open your eyes gently whenever you're ready. That could be a clue for you of how your body responds to things that are nourishing for you. So the other way that our body can guide us in actualizing our dreams is, actually I'm going to go backtrack for a second. So listening for what you're attracted to and what feels nourishing, I find helps to keep a balanced approach to what you're shifting into. Personally, I can be like a horse that's let out of the gate. Sometimes I feel like a racehorse that's literally trembling at the gate. I have an idea, I have an online course, I have something that I want to put out in the world, and I just want to run. I want to run hard, and I want to run fast, and I want to pump it out. And there are times when that's the right thing to do, but that's something that I love to do often. I love to run like that with ideas and things. And so for me, listening to what's nourishing helps me to stay balanced and keep my approach balanced. And then listening for what I'm attracted to helps me running in the right direction, because we want to be following that intuitive knowing that's guiding us to that fulfillment. We might not know what it is yet. We might not know where we're going to. So you're using that inner feeling as a compass, an inner compass, and step by step you move towards those things that you're attracted to. Like it could be a book that you're attracted to read that suddenly spawns a new idea for you. So it could be anything. I'm also just going to share that there's people renovating my bathroom upstairs right now. So if you hear, I just heard a little hammer. So if you hear anything, please forgive the disruption there. So the other way our body responds to us is through noticing what's depleting our energy. So there's some things that we do that are literally like a leak on our energy. Imagine you have this well, this container of energy, and there's a leak or a hole in your bucket, dear Liza, and it's leaking out. Your energy is just depleting. And so what depletes your energy is also going to help you to follow the next step in actualizing your dreams. And sometimes that means a career change. Sometimes it means ending a relationship. I hate to say that, but I've had to do that a few times because it's not my business. Any aspect of my business is depleting me. It's a relationship, and that could be a romantic relationship. It could be with a friend. It could be with family. I have had to break away from certain family members at times because it was draining my energy. So what is depleting your energy is another way that your body's signaling to you when you feel tired, when you feel exhausted. It's like, okay, something's not right. Maybe you're working your buns off. That could be it. But it can also be a leak in your container. So that's something to notice. I know for myself, overworking is one leak for me that depletes my energy, but also worrying. So I did a lot of worrying about my Bali retreat, wondering if I was going to get enough people. Now, I had to do a lot of self-correcting and work with that energy of worry and move with it and dance with it, and it kept surfacing, and everything was fine. We had just the perfect amount of women on the retreat, and it was just the right number, as I knew it would be, and all of that worrying was such a waste of energy. Worrying, anxiety is like a gas guzzler. So that could be a leak in your energy field. And so finding the tools that support you with emotions that are draining would be very helpful. And the other thing is what excites you? Like what lights you up? What lights your heart on fire or you know, arouses your whole energy field? For me, West African dance and drumming is just like, I feel like my soul is on fire. When I'm drumming and dancing, I'm alive and I'm excited, I'm happy, I'm filled with vitality. And some of you may know what lights you up, and you may still be exploring that. And that's another way that your body is guiding you to actualize your dreams, because those things that really excite you, and it could be doing, maybe you're a therapist or a counselor and doing those one-on-one sessions. I know for me, at the end of coaching sessions, I could like run a marathon, and we talk about some heavy stuff sometimes, heavy in brackets, stuff that other people may think, oh, I wouldn't want to hear, you know, those are terrible experiences you had, or that really brought me down to listen to it. Well, for me, I feel revved up when we've done a deep dive into old material and we've gotten it moving. That revs me up. That excites me. That lights me up. So what lights you up is another way that your body's reflecting back to you, part of your soul purpose, and part of what you've been called here to the planet to do. So I hope that gives a little more clarity about how your body responses can guide you in actualizing your dreams. I'm going to move into talking about 4 tools to support you in creating those lasting changes that align with your soul purpose. So one of the tools is asking questions. I have a few questions. So those are questions that I just spoke to you about just now. And if you have a journal, you can write them down. But what are you attracted to? Or what am I attracted to? What feels nourishing? What depletes my energy? What excites me? So those questions that are commonly used in coaching, you can just sit with your journal at any time and have a little conversation with yourself. So stopping to ask questions is really important. I've shared this many times in webinars before, but I'm going to say it again. I ask myself regularly, what would I be doing if I was a billionaire? If I just, won the lottery and had billions of dollars, what would I do with my time? And that question has guided me for years in following my purpose and moving towards those deep dreams that are seated inside of me. Because when you clear your mind and your conscience of that thought of, okay, I need to make money, or I need to cover my bills, or whatever it is, if you eliminate the financial, if you eliminate the responsibility of that, and for others, it might be, you might have to ask yourself, anyway, forget that. I'm going to stay on track with this one. Just asking yourself what you would do with your time. What would you do with your time? And you might be in that position already where you're retired, or you've just got lots of money and you don't have to work. So what would you do with your time? And that question has guided me. So asking questions is a tool that I use often, both in my practice when I work with women, and also for myself. So another tool is following a process. So I'm going to share a 4-step, it's not really 4 steps, but it's a process that has 4 elements. I'm going to give you the brief summary of it today. But I know there's lots of books, there's lots of coaches, there's lots of online courses, there's lots of opportunities to follow a process or a program so that you see yourself through. I wish I had my little book with me here, but I use Leonie Dawson as a coach who does, she creates these beautiful workbooks that help you. You can have one for your personal life, one for business, and it's all about visioning and then breaking the vision down into actionable goals, and then, celebrating when you complete it. And it's just a really cool, fun, her illustrations are beautiful. It's a great, and no, she didn't pay me to say that. It's a great way for me to keep in touch with the dreams, with the goals, and then keep checking back with the steps that I'm taking for personal and professional. And I see my books, I keep my workbooks out where I see them. So for me, I can keep coming back to that process. Otherwise, we're kind of just doing like random acts of intention. Maybe you creating a vision board could be a process that's lasting for you if you put it somewhere where you're going to see it all the time, and then maybe you have affirmations that you say with it, or maybe there's some other thing that you do with it that keeps that process alive and thriving and moving and evolving. So I find the process is really important. Otherwise, for me, I can spiral into the chaos of the dream realm. I'm a very ethereal person. I am an air sign. And many of you already know, but I hear and see the spirit realm. And it's a really cool gift and ability, and I'm grateful for it. It was terrifying when I was a child because there were a lot of dark energies that are attracted to my light. But I love it now, but it can also be distracting. I can hang out there and, have hours pass and go, oh, what just happened? So for me, having that, having that process brings me back to the present and keeps me grounded moving forward, rather than, I have these intentions. I write them in my journal and never come back to them. So that process is something I highly recommend. I'm going to share one with you now. It's a process that I've been using personally. It's worked really well for me, which is why I'm going to share it with you. And I'm going to have a sip of water, gulp, gulp, gulp. So feel free to have some of your own if you have some. Awesome. Okay, so first step of the process is to sift. What are the thoughts and goals? Okay, and I'll just clarify what sift means. I think probably most of you know, but sifting is like if you are sifting grain, you're keeping the grains that are good, viable grains coming through into your bowl, and the ones that aren't, say, trapped in the sift. Because we have a few people who have English as a second language here, I'm clarifying. Many of you are bakers, I'm sure, so when you're sifting flour, you keep the clumps out, and the flour that's usable comes through. So I use that same process of sifting with my own habits of thinking and being, and noticing which ones are aligned with my goals and nourish me, and which one are not. So I'm going to give you an example based on my intention of spending more time speaking on stage. Thoughts that affirm my worthiness as a teacher, that's in alignment with my goals. So there's some patterns or ways of thinking or being that you have right now that are in alignment with those goals. Again, your goal could be tangible, like you want to earn $1 million, or you want to be a massage therapist, or it could also be a way of feeling where I want to feel at ease every day, or I want to feel excitement. I want to feel love. Maybe you just want to feel the vibration of love. So when I talk about goals, it's a very broad spectrum. So coming back to that example of speaking on stage, when I have thoughts of, yes, I can do this, and yes, I have experiences and ideas to share, and I know that's part of my purpose, I'm going to keep that. Now, a habit that's maybe not in alignment with my goals is the for me personally, I don't know how comes into my mind. Oh, I see myself speaking on stages to groups and creating experiences through movement and drumming, but I don't know how to get there. And so that thought that comes into my mind is not in alignment. So I want to sift that out. It doesn't mean that I'm never going to have thoughts like that again, but it means when I see that thought, I'm going to work with it. So I feel that thought come up and I go, okay, there's some part of me that feels like I don't know how to get there. That's fine. Now I'm going to tune into the wise woman in me and hear what she has to say. So that's usually my way of working with any thoughts that are either negative or putting myself down or just don't serve me. I just go, okay, there's some part of me that feels like that. And now I'm going to listen to the other voice, because usually that inner critic voice is, screaming loud at the top of its lungs. And meanwhile, the wise woman in you, or that deep intuitive knowing in you, is kind of whispering. It's often not as loud, and it takes a little more focused listening to hear what she has to say. So that's how I kind of work with sifting those thought patterns that aren't in alignment. That's my process with it. You might have your own thing that you do. So another habit that might not be in alignment is putting off writing a speaker's page or creating my speaker page. So putting that off, the habit of putting it to the bottom of the list, is not in alignment with my goal. So I need to sift that out and replace it with something that is in alignment, and that's further down in the process. So we're just talking about sifting right now. So I want to weed that habit out of my daily life. So that's sift. The next step in this 4-step process is to decide. Deciding is a commitment. When I say decide, it's not a loosey-goosey 7 out of 10. Yeah, I'm going to do this. It is a 10 out of 10. It is a 10 out of 10 decision. You decide with your whole body that you're going to do this. So that when you make a shift, if you're really serious about making the shift, whatever you're shifting into, even if you don't know that you're shifting into, maybe you're just deciding, I'm going to make a shift right now towards my highest and greatest good. I don't even know what this shift looks like, but I'm committed to begin to weed out, to sift. I'm going to start sifting and see what happens from there. I remember the day so clearly when I decided I am not working for anyone else ever again, unless it's through a contract through my business. I mean, I'm adding that in now. I didn't have a business at the time. I had just come back from West Africa, spent 3 months there studying drumming and dancing. It was my second trip there, and I had been, I had a career performing with African artists, touring different countries and performing, and I was also working part-time at a cafe. And the cafe job was not paying me much. It was really physically demanding, because it had these tiny stairs going down to the basement. And anyway, it's a long story, but you had to go up and down these stairs all day, and I was on my feet all day, and I recognized this is like wear and tear on my body, and my body is my life. I need this. And I got back from my trip, and I said, I'm not going back to that job, and I'm not doing this anymore. So I made that decision so strongly that I remember the moment clearly. And the next day, my sister's partner came. He is a photographer. He said to me, oh yeah, I just did a shoot for the government, and they have this grant that they're doing for youth who want to start a business. I think it might be interesting for you. And long story short, I launched my business. I got the grant, launched my business, and I never looked back. Never took another job that wasn't a part of my business. I was continuing to perform professionally, but that was part of my business as a contractor and as an artist. So that's the level of decision making that I'm talking about here. I'm just noticing the time's flying by, so I'm gonna move on from decision to the next step. But I will say that making a decision requires pausing, like taking moments to pause throughout the day and remember the decision. Otherwise, by default, we fall back into the old patterns and we don't even notice. So pausing and then self-witnessing. Okay, what am I doing right now? What am I thinking? Is this in alignment with my decision? Is this in alignment with my goals? So a big part of making the shift is doing that self-witnessing, and I believe many of you are already doing that. And that once you have that, I mean, that's you're halfway there already, because you're able to notice yourself. You're able to notice your thoughts, notice your habits, and they move from unconscious to conscious. So that's huge. The third step in this process is to embody. So what patterns, thoughts, and habits do you need to embody to move forward towards the goal, to make this shift? So we've gone from the sifting out the stuff that's not serving you and that's not in alignment, to deciding, then making that firm decision, yes, I'm going to do this. You don't need to know how. You do not need to know how. Once you make that firm decision, if any of you, I bet all of you have made a firm decision in your life, and then just, even if it was a firm decision to get new shoes. I am getting new shoes. I don't have the extra money right now, but I'm getting the shoes. Whatever that firm decision was, I've noticed in my life, when I've made those firm decisions, then the universe, God, creator, divine love, spirit, whatever you want to call it, great mystery, aligns and starts, the synchronicities just begin to unfold, the opportunities come in, and things align with my decision. So making that powerful decision is, it's really important. And you might use ceremony with that decision. You might, on a new moon or a full moon, with a candle, speak it out loud, or have some ritual that you do. So then embodying the new ways of being and thinking that support you. After you've sifted, you've probably removed some things. You might want to put some new habits in. So for me, a new habit is really inviting more spontaneity into my life. I came home from Bali, and 3 days later, I had adopted a puppy. And I had no plans to get a dog anytime soon. I thought maybe in 10 years I'll get a dog. No plans whatsoever. And through synchronicity, while I was away, everything was about puppies. Everyone was talking to me about puppies. The travelers who I met were all getting puppies when they got home. I would see, I met a local guy who was training his puppy to ride on the back of a scooter. The locals were asking me if I had pets, if I had a dog. And the synchronicities were just so intense that I thought, maybe I'm meant to volunteer at a shelter. So I looked at realized there's a shelter up the street from my house that I never knew was there. And I ended up looking at the dogs. Oh, I'll just take a look at the dogs. Totally fell in love with this 7-month-old puppy who's actually from Turks and Caicos. Her name is Ellie. But my life and one of my intentions in Bali, and that has been for this year, is really moving into a way of life that involves more being, that has more balance between work and being. And for me, it took getting a dog to get to that goal. You might not know what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, but when you decide and then you start to embody the new patterns, you never know. I'm not saying all of you are going to end up with a new pet, but you never know what's going to happen. And so embodying the new thoughts and habits could be for you, the new habit that you embody might be just checking in with your body multiple times a day. I like to do it every time I pee. I sit down, I drink a ton of water. I know I'm going to pee lots of times during the day. So I sit down, I tune into my body. I close my eyes, I listen in. What do you need right now, body? How are you doing, body? And so embodying new patterns can look a variety of ways. It could also be for you trying on new ways of being. For example, what I was sharing earlier about how I was trying on different things in response to anger that was stagnating inside of me, getting dressed up like a gypsy fairy. That was trying on something totally new, and it met that stagnant energy, and the energy had no choice but to shift. That was the only, I could only turn to laughter, and the laughter completely changed the energy and kept that energy of anger that was present moving. As long as the energies are moving in your body, they can work their way out and you can work through them. Once they fall into the old paths of triggers and pockets of old pain and get stuck, that's when you have a problem, and that's really going to hold you back. So keeping things moving. So with embodiment, and that includes attitudes, ways of thinking and being. Not going to go too much more into that, but I'm sure you could use your imagination or deep listening to find ways, okay, this is what I'm shifting into. For me, I might get in the habit of visualizing myself as a speaker on stages. Okay, if I was going to go, I do that. I've already had a speaking engagement since I got back from Bali, but okay, I'm just going to imagine I have a speaking gig today and I'm going to dress for it. It can be anything, and spontaneity is good. So that's embody. I'm just going to check my notes if there's anything. Oh, okay, yeah, there's one point I don't want to miss with you. So one old habit of mine is to feel like this niggly feeling in my tummy if I have something to do that's work-related. And I always have something to do that's work-related. I always have a client to reach out to. I always have some copy to write. There's a big list of things. I always have stuff on my list to do. So that's kind of a fantasy that I wouldn't. And I often would feel this niggly feeling like I just want to get it done. And that's what would keep me in this pattern of overworking. So now what I've done to change, and then it could kind of grow into some anxiety. So what I found really works for me now is I actually imagine that the thing I need to do is like a really hot pie. And if I can't get to the thing right now, it's like that thing is a really hot pie. It's not ready to be eaten yet. When you have the time, when the moment is right, the pie is going to be just the right temperature and you're going to go eat it. So now that could be a really, really strange and random visualization for you. But for me, I'm a visual person. I have to picture something. And that image of the pie and the thing being a hot pie that's actually not ready yet for me either completely brings ease to my body, and that niggly little feeling goes away. So please get creative with that step. And I'll talk about the fourth step a little more after our guided meditation. But I'll just say the fourth step is to samba, to dance. We have to celebrate. We don't have to, but if you want to enjoy your life and be part of the joy of life, which this planet is a joyful planet. I know humans are doing a bunch of things that are not joyful on this planet, but this is a planet of joy and delight. If you watch animals at all, you will know that. If you see the expression of beauty and creativity that's coming from the earth in all places where she's allowed to be herself and to express, it's a beautiful place to hang out as we travel through space, hanging on by our feet to this beautiful planet. So we want to samba. We want to still dance, and we want to dance with life. So dancing with the challenges that come up, dancing with the opportunities that come up. So that's the fourth step in the process. Now we're going to, so that was a lot of information, and I am teaching an online course that goes deeper into those four steps. It's called Making the Shift, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that at the end of our call. But now we're going to go into that guided visualization. So it's going to be a quickie. It's just going to be a few minutes because I'm chatting away here, and I don't want to keep you later than I promised. So maybe just if you're sitting, maybe you want to stand and give your shoulders a few rolls. Maybe you want to shake, shake, shake. Or maybe you just want to make a sound just to switch up the energy. I've given you a lot of information. Maybe you just want to do a little some kind of sound. For me, I'm going to have a sip of water and then making yourself comfortable. Again, if you came onto our call late, I have a contractor in my house who's renovating the upstairs bathroom, and I apologize for the, I'm going to call it music, the bathroom tunes that are coming from constructing this new bathroom. Okay, so let's all take a few nice deep breaths, breathing deep into the belly, allowing that breath to nourish you by welcoming it deep into the body. The deeper you breathe, the more oxygen comes into your lungs, the more oxygen goes into your cells. Settling into this moment. And just imagining that your presence and your awareness, your consciousness is like a slow moving river that's moving from your head, from your mind, down the slow winding river, travels behind your eyes. And as it winds its way behind your eyes, you notice if your eyes feel rested in their sockets. Maybe they feel heavy, relaxed. This slow winding river of your presence and awareness winds its way down into the jaw. And as it does, you notice if your jaw is holding tension. You might let your jaw hang loose for a moment. Slow moving river of awareness moves now down your neck, and as it travels down your throat, you notice if your throat chakra, energy center located in the throat, is feeling open today in the front and the back. Maybe it's holding something that wants to be said or expressed, and just noticing, no judgment. And then allowing this slow moving river of your presence and your awareness, your consciousness, like a waterfall, to pool into your heart center, traveling down the throat, pooling into the heart center like a beautiful waterfall, and bringing all of your attention to that heart center. You may choose to place a hand on your heart if that feels right. And sending breath into that heart center. Breathing into the front and the back of the body, heart chakra. And you're just going to listen, asking the question, what am I shifting into? Listen for a word, a phrase, an image, or a feeling, emotion. And I'll be silent for a minute here while you listen. What am I shifting into? And if you did get a word or a phrase or a feeling, a color, just breathing into it. Holding that knowledge as treasure in your heart, whatever information you got. And just beginning to rub your hands on any part of your body or together. Taking a few nice deep breaths, connecting with gratitude for whatever information you received, even if it was just a feeling. You might not know what it is yet, but you might remember the feeling or the color. So you can gently open your eyes whenever you're ready. And I hope that you learned something today, or maybe it was an affirmation or confirmation of what you already know you're shifting into. There was a few things that came up for me that were new ones that were welcomed. Happy to hear and be conscious of those other couple things that I'm moving into now. So if you are feeling ready to make a shift, are you ready to make a shift? Are you 10 out of 10 ready to move towards a way of feeling or a goal or something that you are being called and feeling called to shift into? If you are, I invite you to join me for an online course that will guide you in making a shift to support the next phase of your evolution. We will have 4 one-hour classes during this online course, and it begins June 8th. Was going to start on the 1st, but we're starting on the 8th now. And so we'll go into those 4 parts of the process, the SIFT. During the SIFT class, we'll look at our current lives from an eagle's perspective, and we will look at what patterns and habits are in alignment with our dreams and goals. What are the automatic behaviors or thoughts that cloud your inner knowing? And I'll share tools to support you in witnessing unconscious patterns. You'll also experience a guided visualization to help bring clarity with what you're shifting into. We'll go into the Decide. Decide will be the second class. And during this class, we're going to look at some tools and movement techniques that support your activation of the energies of fierce trust and courage and unwavering focus that it takes to make a decision like that. In the third module, the Embody module, I'll share techniques to support you in learning from your body as she speaks to you. All of our bodies speak to us in different ways, so I'm going to go more into that during that call. Through her feelings and responses, you can observe your patterns and begin to observe what's in alignment and what's not. And we'll also explore ways to incorporate more conscious communication between yourself and the wisdom in your body in your everyday life. Now, if you're already doing that, this is a chance to take it to the next step and the next level, because I'll guide you in some deep listening to hear how you can evolve your process of communicating with your body. And that class is going to be on the summer solstice. So we will be aligning with the solar energies, and I'll guide you in a guided visualization to really harness the opportunity and the portal of opportunity that opens during the summer solstice time. During the last class, Samba, we're going to talk about the importance of play and reconnect to our curiosity, sense of humor, the magic of possibility, and just fun. So in that module, we'll also explore tools to keep old energies moving while you're cultivating a new way of dancing with life. And we'll also explore simple ways to infuse play, magic, and laughter into your daily life. And again, that's going to be customized, so I'm going to be guiding you to go into yourself to find that information and the tools that are going to work best for you. When we infuse that play and magic and laughter into our daily life, we can more easily shift the old patterns and embody that new vibration. So take a moment now and just listen to your body. Are you attracted to this? Is this course for you? You might need to listen afterwards. It's not going to be for everyone. It's definitely only going to be for the people who are, like, if you're an 8 out of 10 or less with deciding to move into this shift, it's not for you. This course is only for those who are, yes, I'm ready. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm 10 out of 10, I'm 9 out of 10, or 10 out of 10 committed to this process. And it's mostly just self-witnessing, although we will have tools and exercises. You probably need 2 hours a week, one for the call and an extra hour afterwards. And then you could always do more if you wanted to. So, if you can put the slide up for 1 second again, Tiff. So part of that is the 4 online classes, and then you'll have a 30-minute coaching call with me. So a private session is included in that. Thanks, Tiffany. And I'm actually, so anything that you want to work with and go deeper with, you may want to work with me on a variety of things. I have the gift here, guides, spirit guides, and also to help you listen to your body and hear some of the unspoken things that are really deep in the body that want to be heard. So you can use that call at any time to support you in your process of making the shift.